So we can see the topic consists of three important terms that are feminism, gender, and stratification. So I'd like to briefly talk about them like separately. So I'll start with what feminism is. Feminism is something which we are very much familiar about. So it can be the belief, ideology, or bunch of movements which generally is for women in short. So feminism is the belief in social, economic, and political equality for women. It is a range of social movements, political movements, and ideologies that aim to define and establish equality. Feminism believes in equality, equality between the sexes. There are different types of feminists with different ideologies who advocate different types of feminism, such as ecofeminism. So I've given here the example of ecofeminism, where the ecofeminists consider women and nature as same because both are life producers, and because both women and nature is controlled and exploited by men. That's why the ecofeminists consider nature and themselves as the same. So there are broadly three types of feminism that I have listed below, that are liberal feminism, radical feminism, and Marxist feminism. Liberal feminism is a branch of feminism which mainly focuses on achieving gender equality through political and legal reform with the framework of liberal democracy. Radical feminism is a perspective that calls for a radical reordering of society in which male supremacy is eliminated in all social and economic contexts. Marxist feminism analyzes the way in which women are exploited through capitalism and the individual ownership of private property. I will talk about gender, which is the second term, which is very much important. So sometimes gender can be a tricky term as sex and gender are used interchangeably, but they are very different terminology. Gender refers to the characteristics of women, men, girls, and boys that are socially constructed. Gender includes norms, behaviors, and roles that are associated with being a male or female. Gender is hierarchical and produces inequality. Gender is different to sex. Sex is a biological concept, whereas gender is man made. Gender and gender roles create inequality. So basically, gender is what define being masculine or feminine. The other term is stratification. So the word stratification itself suggests that it is a division, or we can say it is the strata. The arrangement or classification of something into two groups is known as stratification. Stratification refers to the society's categorization of its people into groups based on socioeconomic factors like wealth, income, race, education, ethnicity, gender, occupation, social status, or derived power. Stratification is the ranking of people in a society. Like already discussed about what gender and stratification is separately, we know that gender itself is a division of people into two groups, that is male and female, and stratification as well is division. So it is very clear that gender stratification is nothing but division that brings about inequality, arguments, and sometimes dissatisfaction in the society. So, gender stratification is the social process by which men and women are not treated as equal. It gives rise to conflicts. It can also be referred to social ranking, where men typically inhabit higher status than women. Often, the terms gender inequality and gender stratification are used interchangeably. Feminism on gender stratification. Gender stratification occurs when gender differences gives men greater privilege and power over women and transgender. Feminism focuses on the theory of patriarchy, a system of power that organizes society into complex of relationships based on the assertion of male supremacy. Um, so here is a picture. We can see in this picture that a boy and a girl is with different toys. In this picture, these toys are presented as the gender role or the character of being masculine or feminine because they both are with toys but they are different. So these toys are presented here as the gender role of being a male or a female. The feminist conflict approach. There are several approaches to gender stratification. There are theories such as functional theory, interactionist perspective, etc. But feminist theory uses the conflict approach to examine gender roles and inequalities. Conflict theory posits that stratification is dysfunctional and harmful in society. With inequality increasing, it only benefits the rich and powerful. This picture presents the gender role of a woman in the society. So basically, it doesn't matter if a woman is working or she's doing a job because her primary role, as per the society, is to look after the family. She is bound to look after the family even if she is working outside. So this picture explains that. I will discuss about different areas or aspects where women are treated as minor. Women as minority. Women are considered as minority groups as they do not share the same power, privilege, rights, and opportunities as men. Although women have made great strides in gaining access to education and employment, to this day they continue to face significant hurdles that men generally do not confront. So, feminists ties hard to establish uniform society with women's right. The origin of patriarchy. Patriarchy is a social structure in which men are considered to have a monopoly on power and women are expected to submit. There are both sociobiological and social constructionist explanations of patriarchy. Sociobiological explains use of human biology and genetics to explain male control. Social constructionist explains how the society have created gender roles that have resulted in the origin of patriarchy. Women in workplace. Women continues to face significant barriers to entry and participation in workplace. Division of labor plays a significant role as to why women have to face such barriers in workplace. Again, the gender role plays role to divide what is to be done by men and what jobs are for women. Wage discrimination is another type of discrimination women face in the work sector. Lastly, not to forget about sexual harassment in workplace. Here, a man is getting more wage than a woman. The other topic is family and gender issues. So, women are expected to handle childcare, so they are compelled to choose jobs that are falling within their gender roles. Women are supposed to look after everyone in the family with no exception. Mostly men are the decision maker of the family and not women. Education and gender. Women have historically been disadvantaged in education and learning have often been segregated along gender lines. Though since the early 1990s, more women have been enrolled in colleges, there are several places where women education is still not promoted. Gender inequality in politics. Gender stereotypes still doubt women politicians no matter how much women may achieve. Women are considered more emotional than men, thus, men doubt that women can't make right decision. Voting rights for women have given at least some political freedom to them. So, I'd like to conclude with some important points that the differentiation is the law of nature. Society cannot exist without differentiation. Although this differentiation results in stratification and inequality, it is a natural process. But sometimes the differentiation is man-made as well, as we observe how gender role made by humans complicate the stratification process. Feminists have played a significant role in reducing this inequality. Society is heterogeneous and never constant. It is always in motion and hence is the process of stratification. It always keeps on changing from time to time and from society to society. Um, these are some of the references that I have derived to do this presentation. So that's it. I hope I was able to reach every one of you. Thank you.